Are you looking for an escape from manufactured truth wrapped in selfish agenda? Don't you just want to have a real and raw conversation, all masks and rules aside? That's what you're getting here at Titan Evolution Podcast. Get rid of all the nonsense information and discuss everything under the sun without filters. Listen to real stories of real people who will put your current perspectives to the test, guide you on living the life you truly want, and see everything free from judgment and pretenses. Time to get rid of those unhealthy environments and let your authentic self shine. Here are your hosts, Travis Johnson and Carol Carpenter.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. I'm Carol Carpenter, and that is my co-host, Travis Johnson. And we have a special guest today on our podcast. His name is Hunter Hobbs, and Hunter is an online content creator and actor who has a passion for fitness and creative video edits. He took a leap of faith 4 years ago from his comfortable office job to pursue his passions and has never looked back. Welcome, Hunter.
Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, I love stuff like this. Getting to meet someone in real life, build a little connection. I mean, I've been doing improv with Hunter for 5 months already. I can hardly believe it's been 5 months.
It's a long time, man. Time flies with a lot of improv stuff. So.
Yeah, we had one last night. These are like 8-week courses, and like last night was week 7, and we're all like really sad that it's going to end soon, even though we have another week and we have a showcase that we're going to do. And Hunter, the thing that I love about him is like whatever the role is, like he's into it. Whatever the role, whatever the thing is, he's all in.
He commits.
Yes, he was doing like,
I love it.
Oh, what would you call those last night? You did a push up and then you jumped up. What do you call those?
Burpees.
Burpee
action.
Doing burpees. Obviously, I don't do burpees, but he was doing burpees on stage last night, just getting all into it. It was hilarious. I love it.
There was some context to those burpees. I wasn't just up there doing burpees for fun.
Okay, context. Got to hear it.
But no, I think it was some scene where we started out just making a scene. It was called Hollywood Director, where they'll give you a couple themes. You start a scene, and then they'll be like, no, cut. Here, try it this way. So it started out as like some kind of romantic scene, and then they're like, all right, it's a kid's show, but it's super action. It's lots of sports, lots of activity. And then it kind of turned into doing some push-ups and some burpees on stage. Just got to go on.
It just evolved.
Oh, I
don't know how it did, but
I love it. You're given a premise. You start working on it, and then they'll say, cut. It's this. It's now a kid show, or no, we got a sponsor. We got to make sure that we're talking about who's our sponsor. The audience, like Pillsbury. We got to make sure we have a product placement for Pillsbury. And it just keeps adding. So you end up doing like 4 or 5 scenes really pretty quickly. The director will come in. He's like, change everything. We can't do this. You were great. You're now a tiger. We got to have animals, and it just builds and adds, and it's hilarious.
You know what, guys? That reminds me very much of what like being an entrepreneur is like, right? Everything changes. It's a constant revision and refining, right, to get to the goal. And I love it because it's very reminiscent of becoming an entrepreneur, which is obviously what you became, Hunter.
Yeah, still ongoing everyday process. Every day sometimes is boring and repetitive and the same, and some days it's just completely different, doing stuff like this, which I absolutely love. But yeah, you got to stay on my toes and keep my mind fresh and ready for anything that kind of comes my way.
Keeps it exciting for sure.
Yeah. It's a hell of a lot more exciting than my old office job, where I was literally typing numbers in Excel day after day after day. Funny enough, one of my first YouTube videos came from Excel. I was so bored working, and I was like, I had a strategy. I was like, what is the dumbest viral video I could possibly come up with that would get attention and go viral? And I was like, man, I wonder how long it would take me if I held my finger down on the down arrow key and went from the first row of Excel to the very bottom. And so I filmed, I think, one Sunday in my room. I turned my camera on, pulled my finger down, and 9 hours and 36 minutes later, I'd hit the bottom, all 1,048,576 rows. And I filmed all that. It was so stupid. And then that's how I learned how to edit, as well as I took that like 10-hour video, put it down to a 2-minute video, posted it on YouTube and wherever else. And then I think that was my first YouTube video that went viral and had, millions of views and obviously a lot of hate, but that was the whole point of it. I wanted to do something so
Wait,
stupid.
how could you get hate from something like that?
Oh my gosh, you could have a puppy that just like cures cancer, and that puppy's gonna get hate. People are like, wow, you're just the biggest waste of time. You could have been volunteering at a soup kitchen for 10 hours instead of doing that, that crap. And it's like, what are you doing? You probably watched Netflix for your entire Sunday, and at least I was, trying
Binge
to
watched,
Oh,
right?
don't judge me, right? Don't judge me after the comeback on
Just shot
that.
him.
Oh my goodness. Like,
You
did you hold
know,
your finger there the whole time, or did you like replace it with an object?
finger down. People didn't believe that I did it, which I don't know why I would just fake something
Huh.
like that. So I ended up posting the whole 10-hour video. So if you're ever bored one Sunday and need 10 hours of something to do, you can watch the full video. So
Good
I tell
Lord.
you what, I have been bored. I even have been that bored, but I don't think I can possibly watch 10 hours of like cell
Somebody,
just
yeah.
scrolling down.
yeah, I think one of the first articles that came out from that was there's a newspaper in Oklahoma called the Lost Ogle, which they are notorious for just ripping on people. And so I think my headline was like, "Dumb Oklahoma man does dumb thing where dumb people watch," or something. And it just like they dove deep into like graduate from OU, all this stuff, and now here's what he's doing. So that was my first taste
Wow.
at like a little bit of going viral and a lot of bit of hate. And so it's been
Meh.
going that way ever since. So
You
it's a
you never
positive
really
way.
make
I
it
like it.
big.
I enjoy it. So
Yeah. You never really make it big until you start collecting haters. Like we've got
Very
Carol
true.
Carol and I have a mutual friend, and he talks about like having this one hater that really just really tore him up inside. And I guess he talked to Tony Robbins. He's like, one hater. Oh, I remember my first hater. He's now got like Tony Robbins has like millions of haters, right?
oh
That's how you really know that you're doing something worth doing, because someone's taking the time specifically to hate on you, right?
Well,
I
you hit
know.
a chord.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you hit a chord, people are going to say shit, whether it's valid or not. They just
Hmm.
feel like they have the right to say shit, and you don't.
and that's another thing that as many mean comments or mean messages. One thing that's kind of, I don't know, maybe it's the way I was raised. I never engage. If I do respond to something, it's always was something positive.
Positive.
And so, because first of all, I'm not that type of person. I would never try to start something because you're never going to win a back and forth with a troll. And then also, like, I would never want to type something super hateful, someone screenshot it, and then 5 years later, something like that comes to haunt me.
Yeah,
It happens every day.
100%.
I mean, how many people, early on in Twitter wrote wrote a lot of stuff, got a little famous, and then it comes back to haunt them and gets them canceled, or stuff like that. So I'm never going to engage with that, or I'll just be really positive, and then yeah. So
You want to know? Somebody once told me not to engage, and their comment was, "Everybody loves hot dogs, but nobody wants to know how they're made."
that's good. I like that.
Right?
Yeah, that's great advice that I probably should use, because I've definitely engaged with some of those people. And mostly, if you're listening to this show and you don't like really know me, like one of the things I really love to do is kind of just push the boundaries and instigate, not necessarily troll, but like I'm not satisfied with normal day-to-day interactions. Like I want like something on the edge, something, knock people off their hamster wheel, get them engaged for 10 seconds of their day because they haven't engaged anyone in 3 months, right? Like really get them going, say something like off the wall. And I had one like some comment, someone like replied to me like months after I made this comment. They found it and they were like so fired up. They started calling me names and all this terrible stuff. And I wrote back, I was like, hey man, please don't hate me for this. Like get to know me as a person and really hate who I am. Don't just hate me for this comment. Like trust me, there's plenty of things to hate. And like these random comments can really go off the rails, right, Hunter? Like from what I understand, you get tons of crazy things in your DMs.
Yeah, I was I kind of mentioned this before a little bit, but yeah, I used to screenshot all of my crazy DMs and hate messages, or who knows, whatever they were. And I have a whole photo album. Just, I don't know if it's just for, my entertainment, just to be able to look back on those. But I mean, I don't even know. They're just anything and everything. Again, a lot
So
of, yeah.
what caused the hate to start spewing?
I think
Is it
it's,
because of something you posted, or?
I remain super neutral on anything. I'm not going to engage with politics, with anything controversial. It's just, I think anyone online, sometimes I like to go do this. If you just look at, someone popular on Instagram, they could be posting anything from fitness to funny content to, I don't know, like animal content. You scroll through the comments, first 5 seconds, you're going to get hate comments, no matter what it is. Either them trying to pick out something that, like, wow, your feet are weird, or look, like, I get, one comment that I really
Seriously.
loved. I think I made a couple videos. It was like, your nipples are not symmetrical. This guy like went off paragraph about how
Okay, hold on. I have to say, was
They are.
somebody seriously looking at the symmetry of your nipples?
Funny enough, I did like a video where I had like a straight line come down and like measure it, and it might have been like, it was like a degree off. So I was like, all right, I'll give you that. You had a point, but I don't know why someone would go out of their way to
Focus? Yeah.
focus on that.
Was the username Barnstormer43?
I think so.
Oh, sorry, bro. That was actually me. So I had this friend in another business. He took all his like negative review comments on whatever, like 1 out of 5 stars in the comment, and he turned them into t-shirts and started selling them as a way to make
Get
money.
out.
Because you have all these things screenshotted. You could, no kidding, get one of these enormous like coffee table books made with all your hate. As a way to earn money. Like, no shit.
It's a great, honestly, I have so much. It's funny. It reminds me, I know David Goggins, I think his second book had come out, and I'd listened to that. And I think he took a lot of his hate stuff, either people that had sent like voice audio or the comments, and he recorded them all. And then when he was like jogging in the morning, of course, at like 3 a.m. in the rain, shirtless, he would listen to those hate comments over and over, and it would just motivate him. So, but I do like
Wow.
the idea.
Yeah.
I like the coffee table book idea.
There's
sure.
Growing up with my background, some of the things that I've been through, I've used a lot of that hate fuel to fuel my life to get something done. Oh yeah, tell me I can't do something, fucking look out. I know Carol's the same way too. And then when I started getting like encouraging comments, I would like follow all over, right? Like someone's like, hey, you're doing a great job today. I'd walk into a door like, hey, we really appreciate it. And I would mess up the next thing. Like I didn't know how to handle positive comments. It was really a strange thing for me because there had been so much hate in my life, into like my mid-20s, and I'm like, I'm doing a good job. I don't know what to do with that comment. I don't know how that's like. How do you guys work on positive comments? People like, one negative comment will take me down. I was like, that's what gets me fired up. It's the positive ones that wreck me.
Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting to kind of see, everybody's an influencer, everybody posts content, and, a lot of these younger content creators that, they're raised from just getting all this positivity in their life, just day in, day out. And it's going to be kind of a fact check to, if they deal with something negative in their life, if they've been just used to getting all this encouragement and positivity at all times. And then it's going to be interesting to see how they handle some real life, negativity, stuff like that.
Hardship makes us stronger. So, if all you've encountered your life is positive comments, positive reinforcement, I mean, we all need that. But if that's all you've encountered, the first time you deal with hardship, it'll sink you.
Yeah. Your scale. I talked about this with a few people I know. Like my trauma scale is far different than a lot of people's. My wife's like pain scale with all her medical stuff is far different than a lot of people's. What would register as a 9 for someone, she's like 4 at best. And I imagine it's the same thing with those kind of comments. Like if you're used to your positivity scale is here, and someone does something negative and just wrecks the whole thing, like you've not experienced that. That's really interesting how people can look at that.
It's a big thing. That's really what I'm trying to do. Is, I don't know, there's a lot of obviously mental health issues, and social media is a big thing, especially with people online and having to deal with that and dealing with a lot of positivity or hate. So that's something that I try to step away with, and live my own life, not just on social media, you got to deal with the stuff in real life. And that's kind of, I try to keep that separate, because it can be all consuming, and that's just like all you think about, all you dwell on, and then it'll just really, you have a big toll on your life if that's all you focus on.
Well, I have somebody that's said to me, it's mind over matter, right? If you don't mind, it don't matter.
That's good. I like that. Write all these quotes down, man.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm full of them today. I don't know what happened.
I love it. I love quotes.
Hunter's over here taking notes. Like, this was a really good interview. I learned a lot. So tell me about, I remember you telling me that you ended up putting like some tape on the ground as where you're going to stand, and you went and took a photo every day and created a time lapse thing. What ended up happening with that?
Yeah, well, so I'm currently doing that right now. But again, when I was at my oil and gas job, basically, I've been pretty in shape and athletic all through high school, through college, and then once I got a full-time job, obviously real life happens. You're not working out all the time. Your eating habits, whatever. I was going to like Chipotle every single day, and literally just got busy and gained a lot of weight. Wasn't really working out. So after about a year something, I put on like 35, 40 pounds.
Holy cow.
And I've got a couple of pictures. I should have provided one of those. There's a really good picture where I was just like sitting in a collared shirt and my stomach's like hanging out. My face is so much fuller than it was. So I was like, all right, I got to come up with something. And obviously I like to do videos. So let's do a challenge. Let's see what happens if I do 3 months, no excuses. That means no alcohol, eating clean every single meal, bringing my lunch to work, even though all my friends are going out and eating. And so I duct taped some marks on the floor. I duct taped a tripod, some lights where I couldn't touch them. And for 90 days, I did a photo every single day. And it took me multiple attempts to try to get the positioning the exact same way. But yeah, did that. And then I edited that, put that out. And that was like, I thought the Excel video was popular, but that went just like worldwide. Anywhere I was like on, I remember I did an interview with Good Morning Australia. It was like all over Daily Mail, People Magazine, Men's Health, and like tons of stuff like that. And so that was really what kind of transitioned into, I was getting a lot of, emails and advice, or like people asking me for advice for fitness. So then that's kind of how I transitioned a little bit into doing more fitness stuff from video stuff. And now that's what I'm doing right now. And I'm kind of doing a similar project right now as well, just to kind of keep myself accountable.
That's really interesting. It seems that whenever we challenge ourselves in whatever it may be, fitness for you, I remember when I challenged myself in our household on finances, like the things that really spring up from that trial when we decide we want our own challenge to be the thing that we're going to do, and we get through it, all of a sudden it becomes a hotbed for, hey man, how did you do that? Oh, your finances in order? What the heck? Hunter, you're in great shape again. It only took you like 3 months. Like, how did you do that? It's so interesting how that stuff turns out and how it helps us grow. Then we start using that to help other people grow. I ended up doing personal finance with people for 10 years, helped 400 families pay off $6 million in debt. Like, that's not something I even do anymore unless someone's like, hey, you still doing the money stuff? No, but I can definitely walk you through it if you need to. That stuff really just becomes part of who we are. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I think with something like that, the thing that sets, like you apart or me apart, or stuff that actually, if you stick to it, because, there's millions of people that are like, okay, I'm going to 3 months, let's do this. But it takes a lot for you to actually follow through with this, not just, all right, I'm good for 2 weeks. And, man, this is so hard. I want to quit. And that's why I was like, all right, I know nobody else is going to do this like I am. So I'm going to go all out. I don't care. It's going to suck for 3 months. Yeah, I'm not going to go out to the bars with my friends like I normally do, but it's going to be so worth it. And I just told myself that day in and day out. And I had a roommate at the time who literally every single night I was eating like, chicken, all my meals. He was eating like Taco Bell, pizza, and a 6-pack of beer every single night in front of me. And that made it like 20 times harder, but I did it.
Yep.
But,
well, it's about discipline and accountability. And I think very many people, lack both. You're showing them it's possible. And if you do, these are the results.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I do some online personal coaching, and that's really the biggest thing I offer, because there's so many fitness plans and diet plans, and people are knowledgeable. It's not like people that are overweight have no idea what to do. They do, but it's just about having some accountability, having kind of some structure, slowly getting into some better habits, and discipline's there when you're not motivated. I'm not motivated to go to the gym in the mornings at all. People think I'm like, how are you so motivated? I'm like, I'm not. Like, I don't want to get out of bed and go work out for an hour or go for a walk or a jog for 20 minutes a day or whatever. But that's where the habits kick in, and that's where discipline kicks in as well.
Mm-hmm. I remember I was doing the last time I lost a big chunk of weight. It was about 2 months. I lost 25 to 30 pounds on keto, and I was getting up every morning and going to the gym at like 5:30 to get it done before work. And someone asked me, they're like, "How on earth do you like do this?" And I was like, "I honestly wake up about halfway through my workout, and I'm doing some kind of workout, I'm pumping some iron. I'm like, oh man, how did I get here? Like the habit carried me there." Right. The habit got me to the gym. The gym hasn't changed, right? The gym is across the street from my house, right? Like that hasn't changed. But the habit is what got me there. The habit is what did that for me. The habit is all our automatic programs. I talked earlier about knocking people off their hamster wheel. Like your hamster wheel, whatever that is, that's all your habits built up. That's your personal operating system. That's how it's always going to go. Like we don't have any memory of tying our shoes that day because our body and our brains just know how to get that done. It takes no thought, no energy, no action. You look down, you're like, oh shit, my shoes are on. Like, how'd that happen? Like those habits, those things that you build, just like podcasting, showing up week after week after week with Carol, initially it's like, oh man, how am I gonna make time for this? And now it's like, oh yeah, I get to go hang out and chat with my buddy and some random guest. Congrats on being our rando today, Hunter.
Glad to be a rando. I'll do that any day.
You've actually got into a little bit of acting. I don't think a lot of people understand that Oklahoma has really become kind of a hotbed for Hollywood films and even TV shows. I know they filmed Twister here, the sequels here. Tulsa King has been a big hit. Like, how did you get involved in that?
Yeah, so again, I throw it back to working in an oil and gas thing. Somebody randomly was like working in my office, and they were like, hey, I know you do YouTube, right, Hunter? I see like some random extra calling for some movie. Like, you should do it. And I was like, huh, I should do it. So I took off work one day and I did. It was called, I think, the Turkey Bowl. It had a guy named Ryan Hansen and Alan Richmond, the guy from like Blue Mountain State, and he's been on Jack Reacher, a lot of stuff.
I've actually seen that show, Turkey Bowl, because my friend Brian, what's Brian's last name? He was in it. I can't believe I can't remember my buddy's last name. Oh well.
But yeah, so that was my kind of first taste, and it was a blast. I think really one thing that drew me to that was I was meeting creative people that were motivated to do something more than just the repetitive 8 to 5 job, people who were stepping out of their comfort zone. And then I found out there was a place in Oklahoma and kind of an actor studio place that they did classes, and I was like, dang, it was like 5 minutes away from where I lived. And so I took a class there, really fell in love, kind of learned the ins and out, because I had no idea about anything acting wise at all when I started. And then took some more classes, started going to some more extra roles, then got an agent, started doing a lot of commercial work, and then like stuff like the Killer of the Flower Moon movie that was filmed here as well, the Martin Scorsese, Leonardo DiCaprio. I was like a stand-in for that. I worked on a Matt Damon movie, Stillwater, for a few days, and then just tried to get a little bit of everything. And then some bigger stuff started coming in. But yeah, that's kind of just been, it's a fun, creative passion. Whether it takes me somewhere or not, it may open a door to some completely new area. But I just really enjoy it, really enjoy meeting all the cool people that you see on the set.
Oh, absolutely. How is that? That's the Actor Factory, right? Like in Norman.
Factory.
Yeah. My buddy is Brian Paul. I want to clear that up. And then I wanted to ask you, how is like doing acting classes different from doing improv?
Well, I will say at the Actor Factory, it's straight down to business. It's a lot of structure, and it's like you get your money's worth. It's intense. Like, I think the first class I ever took was the owner, Chris Freihofer, and he's down to business, which I respected. There was a couple people in my class, I think, that were just screwing around, or just, I think, somebody was doing a scene and some girl was like just messing with her water bottle, and he was like, "Hey, stop, we're here to work." And so I really respected that. And yeah, it just throws you out of your comfort zone. I think that first class was like, all right, you got a 3-minute monologue to do, it's your first week, go. And I was like so terrified. And then yeah, just kind of the repetitiveness of it, just working, practicing, getting more comfortable with stepping out of my comfort zone. And then yeah, I just really fell in love with it. And that's really one thing I like about the Actor Factor classes is you're going to learn a lot. It's a lot of information, a lot of work, but it's totally worth it.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Well, I
figure
think
out
this
if
is
that
the
would
perfect.
would that be something for me, or am I too much of a clown and love improv too much to want to go do something more structured? I don't
Oh
know.
man, the director would murder you.
Give you a medium option. They have an improv class there, and that improv class takes the Actor Factory kind of structure straight to business, but it's still fun, but it's a lot more roped in. So I think that would be a good jumping off point for you to try that there. And I took that improv class first there, and then found out about where we go, for our improv. So
Okay, see improv.
Well, I think this is
AC
a
improv.
good
No, we're
segue
just naming all these. That's
you.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think this is a good segue for Travis to ask the $1 million question.
Oh yeah, yeah. We got to know this. All our viewers want to know what makes you a Titan. What are those qualities that make you you? And everything that we're talking about is the fruit of that. What makes you a Titan?
Well, I'm humbled to be even considered for that, and that's something that I'm always working on. I'm really hard on myself because I have a lot of expectations for myself, and so I'm always. I think what makes me different is I don't know. I think my mindset. I just don't want to be in my 60s, 70s, and look back and be like, man, what would happen if you put in that work? If instead of being like, crap, I just kind of worked my normal job, went to the bars, played video games, watched TV, repeated. Now I'm 60, 70 years old. What if I would have applied myself, taken that extra time to learn, to grow? So I really think just how I was raised with my work ethic. My family was super poor. While my friends were hanging out, playing games and stuff, I was with I have a twin brother, and we were mowing lawns since we were 10 years old. And I don't think my parents really gave me money outside of paying our rent since 6th grade. And so we were just taught the value of hard work, just being an individual. And I think that's really what's fueled me to kind of not want to work for someone else, for to be my own boss, to keep continuing to grow and learning and applying myself. So I don't know, maybe that would be one reason why I guess potentially be a Titan.
Well,
Yeah.
you nailed it, right? You know that responsibility and discipline, and you are in charge of making your life what you want it to be. There's no magic government program that's going to sweep in and all of a sudden your life's fantastic. Like that doesn't exist. And we've got a lot of people speaking on this around the world, guys like Jordan Peterson. He's got some harsh opinions on things, but really it comes down for him and a lot of people. I know everyone in this call right now is big on personal responsibility. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. Like I've heard that over and over and over again. You may not be responsible for the first couple of chapters in your life, but moving at this point forward, you make the choice to be responsible, not blame, not whose fault it is. That has nothing to do with anything. It's your personal responsibility to build a life worth living, to build a life worth sharing, a life worth talking about. And I know everyone on this call right now is doing that at whatever level they're playing at. There's no one that's gonna, I mean, shit, I slept till like 10 today, but I've designed my life to where that's a possibility, to where that is okay, to where that some people are morning people. I'm a late night guy. Just talking earlier about all the days I was up till 4 a.m. That's where I shine. That's the time for me, and that's not for everybody, but
yeah, that's why you slept a little bit later, because you were up on a 4 or 5 a.m. 7 days in a row.
Yeah.
I could sleep till noon every day if I wanted to, but I make the option to, or just the decision to wake up at 6 a.m., 6:20 every morning, go to the gym at 7. I know I'm a night person too, trust me, and I'm most productive at night, but I go to the gym in the morning, get that out of the way. But yeah, I totally agree. It's, and again, with like, obviously with fitness too, people see me and be like, oh man, it's like all your genetics. You're so fortunate. It's
Oh,
like,
isn't that funny that people will always say that? It's your genetics. It's like bullshit. It's called hard work.
I work my ass off. I mean, I obviously post a lot on social media, but there's, you know, 90% of the stuff is the stuff that people don't see, that I'm the little things that I'm doing every single day.
100%.
Yeah. So just over time, you do that consistently. It might not happen 2 weeks, you're not going to get super in shape, but if you do that for a year at a time, multiple years, it's going to keep continuing to, pay off. So.
Yeah.
I know people have asked me, they look at like the Veteran Podcast Awards and all the things that I've done over my lifetime. People are like, how on earth did you do all this? It's like, well, what are you talking about? Like pick a thing and have me explain it. Like, oh man, you went skydiving? It's like, well, I didn't take a lot of prep. Like my buddy skydives and he's been annoying me about it for 7 months. And I just said yes on a day and I got a picture, right? It's not like I did a lot of work. He's like, yeah, but you're holding like a Guinness World Record. How'd you do that? Like, oh, my buddy Dave was in town and he invited me up for this thing. I didn't even know what it was. And before I knew it, we were taking part in the world's largest pizza party and we won. Like we set the new world record, right? And because I was there helping out my buddy, like I got to take a picture with the certificate. Like it's not like I set up this whole thing, that I contacted Guinness. I didn't do all that stuff, right? But I happened to be there. I showed up for my people, and every time you show up for somebody, like good things happen.
Yeah.
I heard recently that Hunter was a little sad. He was part of a Veterans Day kind of parade thing, military, and he was sad because he was Captain America, and man, none of the kids gave a shit about Captain America. They were like Spider-Man, Batman.
No.
For context, yeah. So again, while I'm working on my own business, I've had a bajillion random jobs to pay the bills. One thing right now is another connection through someone I met who through acting, and they own like a superhero and princess birthday party thing where they do events and parties. And so I've been a couple times or 4 times a month do Spider-Man birthday parties or whatever. And so, yeah, this weekend was like an armed forces parade, and I was with 3 Disney princesses and Spider-Man and Batman. And I was Captain America, and you'd think Captain America at an armed forces parade would be popular. Nobody gave a crap. They were like, Elsa, Batman, Spider-Man. I was like, come on, I'm right here. So, I felt a little bit left out, but that's all right. I had a mask on to kind of hide my face and my
Your
tears.
sadness. Yeah.
Hide your tears and sadness. Were you like the Captain America, the TV show on Disney, but not like the Captain America in the Marvel movies?
I don't know. I think the Captain America and Marvel movies, I think so. I don't know. I don't really know the Captain America on Disney Plus besides the Marvel one, but yeah.
Oh man, there's like a TV show, and when the new Captain America, he's a good looking, in shape dude. When he puts the helmet on, he does not work. You know what I'm talking about? He does not work in that.
I remember seeing that's the dude with
Yeah.
So
he's a good looking, in shape guy, but putting that thing on.
Evans in that, so hopefully.
Yeah.
So
what? Go
hey,
ahead.
Hunter, what's the name of your company?
Well, let's see. So I had an S corporation that was my contract oil and gas, which was like Sky Hunt Land Services. I've got a twin brother named Skylar, Sky Hunt. Now it's called Post Note Productions, but I'm still figuring out the whole business thing for my coaching, because my coaching thing is Hunter Hobbs Fit. And I guess my name is more my brand. I guess I'm still trying to figure out a lot of this stuff. And in terms of, business and running stuff through my company. So probably
Entities,
probably we'll do another name change to maybe have my production company more of like fitness, because I don't want to send a bill to someone and it's like, what is Post Note Productions? The reason it was Post Note Productions is
Post-it notes.
You can't see my wall, but I literally am notorious for having hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Post-it notes all over. When I was learning how to edit in Adobe Premiere Pro, I had like a bunch of whiteboards with just all these shortcuts on them, all my ideas. And so that's kind of where the Post Note Productions came from. But
I love Post-it notes. I have them in every color, man. I put everything on them,
Do you know those were an accident? They were created on purpose. They were trying to figure out a different adhesive to put on sandpaper, and they came up with this thing and they didn't know what it was. And they were like, we could use this for something else. The idea was almost scrapped until someone saw them taking notes and putting it on the wall. And they were
Oh
like,
my God, that's brilliant.
yeah, this
John-
it's a 3M
Yeah,
product.
he's a billionaire now.
Yeah, Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing is 3M. And I got a few family members that work up in Minnesota doing that. And he's like, yeah, it was a complete fluke. Like we had no, like, and all the best things are, right?
Things. Yeah, the best things come from flukes.
I mean,
That's
it
a
wasn't
fun
people in an
fact.
aviation industry. It was people that run a bicycle shop that learn how to fly. Like it's always something adjacent to, it's never the
True.
thing. Yeah. What were you going to say, Hunter?
Very true.
I was just saying that's a great fun fact to just pull out of nowhere. I'm interested because yeah, I've got a bunch of monitors in front of me and literally there's like probably 20 post-it notes. So it looks cleaner here, but if you look at any of my walls, it's just all notes.
Yeah, there's a reason my camera's backed right into this wall right here. I'll tell you that right now.
That's fair. Before this, I was just like shoving all this stuff, just putting it under my desk. So still not the cleanest, but
So if
It
you
works.
had the vision for your life, the vision for your company, what do you want it to look like in the next 5 years?
it's a great question. I think I kind of think of it this way: like if I won the lottery tomorrow, I'd be doing the exact same thing I'm doing. Probably a little bit nicer car that's reliable, but I think I really just want to have the freedom to kind of whatever I'm passionate about, whether that's acting, whether that's creating video. I think my passion is video. That's my creative art form, and I love seeing a vision in my head of an idea. Again, like the Excel video, most of my ideas are so stupid they pop in my head, and I kind of execute them whether they work out or not. And I love the process of getting it from my head to the screen. And 9 times out of 10, whatever final product I put out looks exactly like the vision in my head. So that's kind of how I would like it for my life. I just see myself, I don't know, being first of all, like kind of financially secure. That would be very nice to have to, not have to stress about that. And then just really pursue what I'm interested in, whether that it could turn out with anything, could be acting, could be fitness stuff, could be video stuff, but somewhere within all those realms, I feel like that's kind of the area that I want to go towards. I still haven't figured out exactly what that is, but one of those avenues may lead to something completely different, which will, I don't know, kind of fulfill my life a little bit more later
Spoiler
on.
alert, you don't have to know. I'm in my 40s, first grandkid on the way. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. I'm doing something I think is interesting for now, and we'll see how it goes. And I know,
Good to know.
Carol reinvented her life when she turned 40. Like what you've been doing is not what you have to continue to do. I've got people that ask me, like, aren't you going to like get all your certifications to go fly for the airlines? You flew for the Navy? I was like, not really interested in that. Like, it doesn't get me. Like, there's no, you just
It doesn't
the
get
weather.
you fired up. Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice. It's pretty, gorgeous office, right? Overlooking wherever you're flying to. But like, I really don't give a shit. I really don't care about the money that would come from that. I really don't want to be like, especially these younger new pilots, like they have to put in hours upon hours and they're flying 2 or 3 hops a day and you never know where you're going to sleep or end up due to weather. And like I did that time. I did my time in the military. Like I don't want to do that. So it's perfectly okay that you don't have it figured out. Just do something that gives you energy, right? Do something that gives you energy. You were on Excel and you were like, Excel is not for me. There's a guy right now that works for Dell. He's like a senior VP. He's got one job. He sits in the back corner of the boardroom, and when they're talking about problems, he's back there on Excel typing away because he can take whatever problem, work out an algorithm to use in Excel to solve that problem and save the company millions and millions of dollars. And I think he gets a cut of that. Like, hey, what would the estimate on this be? Like 25 million. And the guy's in the corner, he's like, I wrote a code that can do that right now. Cool. Give this guy a $5 million bonus. Let's save the 20 million and build on the next project. So he found his passion. And the same thing for you. You're like, best I can do is hold down the down button and record this thing.
Listen, we all have a gift and eventually we figure it out because all paths lead to that gift. It just takes time. That's it.
That's true. And yeah, that Excel video, I think it led me to, I think I'm in a Ripley's Believe It or Not book with an illustrated picture of me holding my finger down on the Excel key. I thought that was pretty, I thought
That's
that was pretty
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
So that's worth getting a lot of hate, but it was just, yeah, it was just
Yeah.
a stupid idea. But I was like, well, I know in my head it's going to be something, and just took action on it. And then, yeah, and that kind of jumpstarted a lot of stuff. So just random stuff like that, you may not think it's that big a deal or serious, but I was kind of passionate about it and I thought that was interesting. So I did
Hey,
it and it took off.
some of the best things that happen, like discoveries, happen because people just think out of the box and they just do these things. And then guess what? Just like we were talking about with 3M, right? The Post-it notes. I mean, everything's by accident, but if you're walking your path, eventually those accidents come into fruition. You find out, oh, that's what I'm here for. I think there's a quote from Mark Twain. There are two big events, two of the most important things that happen in your life: the day that you're born, and the reason, the day you find out the reason why you were.
Yep.
That's good.
I love
think
it.
I've heard that. That's awesome.
Yeah, you've mentioned this a couple of times. You said a stupid idea. I really want people to know that are listening to it that if people are willing to go all in on their stupid ideas, then you can go in on your half-baked ideas, and you can go all in on your great ideas. There's a show in the 90s, a cartoon that was created. Let me know if you guys have heard of this thing, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, God damn. Yes.
Right? It's a great show. It's wonderful, right? What a stupid fucking concept, though, right? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles who are mentored by a rat and are scared of the shredder. Like, what a bizarre idea, right? I'm not saying it's not awesome. It is awesome.
Yeah.
But like, how do you sell if that guy in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s can sell that idea? Certainly anyone listening to this can sell the idea they're coming up with. That has got to be better than that. Like, as far as ideas go,
they like pizza too. They like pizza, so it's gonna work out. It's fine.
But they've got to like get the delivery guy to go over the grate in Brooklyn and like slide the pizza down through the gate while the money, like, it is such a terrible idea that was executed
Beautifully.
Absolutely executed beautifully.
Yep.
Putting out another movie that I just saw in theaters, like for the trailer the other day. It's still going on.
Good Lord.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this at home and you're wondering, like, what am I going to do in life? Oh, this idea will never work. You don't know. The fact is, you don't know until you do it. And you might realize that you're gaining weight sitting at your desk, and then you decide, you know what, I'm going to take a photo of myself 90 days, hold myself accountable, and it turns into the thing that you were meant to do anyways. I started a podcast when I was bored overseas, and it turned out to be the thing that I'm really good at. Carol decided, it's like, you know what, fuck this, I'm gonna go ride motorcycles. And now a good deal of her life is dedicated to riding motorcycles and helping other people do it well and empowering women to do the same. And we just never quite know which idea is going to catch on unless we actually do it. I know that G.I. Joe taught me when I was a kid, knowing's only half the battle. The other half is doing it.
Yeah, and I think one thing that I've considered multiple times, and again, I'm still figuring out my kind of journey, but I think I'm also passionate. I think like taking someone who's just, stuck in that 9 to 5 loop, and I just really like to help people find something that they're passionate about, or find something that's going to help them step out of the daily routine to get something more out of life that they enjoy, and something that will do that. So that could be something that I do later in life, is kind of help people feel like realize what they enjoy doing, and maybe how they can turn that into something more, whether that's just a fun hobby or it's a business idea. But I think that would be cool, because obviously in my own life, I don't know what I would be doing if I was still working at my office job.
You don't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah. I want to think about it, because I'm picturing you like 80 pounds heavier. Like maybe you got this really bad comb over,
dude.
Right? You've been like looking at Excel
You're like,
forever.
you took it from like
on.
now to like all the way to the extreme. Seriously?
Well, I mean, that's what happens, right? Like,
seriously, I saw one big thing that was another deterrent was I saw my supervisors who were, 15, 20 years older than me, and they were just stressed out every day. And then they were like, oh my gosh, I got to go back home and do this all again. And I'll just repeat. And I was like, that's not gonna be me.
That's not your life. Yeah. I don't want this life. I know I can design a different life. Yep. 100%.
I have that exact moment in my journey that you just mentioned, Hunter. I'm in a briefing. I'm here at Tinker Air Force Base in Oklahoma City, and people are around there. All these commands are briefing the Commodore, and I look around, and every single person is visibly exhausted. Every single person in the room has bags upon bags. Every single person has no energy in the meeting. No one wants to be there. And they're like, oh, you're looking forward to this in your career? That's like, not a chance. Not a chance is this going to be me dreading the morning meeting, dragging myself into work. I mean, looking roughly good, but like the face, under the eyes, the energy. No, I can't do it. Absolutely can't be me. The first opportunity I got to retire, I did. And that was one of the main reasons that I did retire, is I wouldn't want to be that person.
I think this is such a great, what you guys do is so awesome, because that's one thing I've realized as well, is it's who you listen to. It's who you surround yourself with. It took me quite a while to figure out.
Yep.
It was very hard. I was a big people pleaser, and learning how to say no to people that just all the time, hey dude, let's just go chill all day. Let's do this. Like, let's go get wasted all day, Saturday, all day, Sunday. And I can't do it. I would rather surround myself with people. Doesn't have to be the same field as me or fitness or whatever. It's just the same kind of mindset, whatever field
Driven.
driven people, just like both of you guys. I think that's amazing. And I respect that so much, what you guys are doing.
Was there a moment like when you decided, when you flipped that switch from going to be a people pleaser to enforcing your own boundaries and standards?
It might have been, honestly, when I finally again decided to step out of my comfort zone and kind of post something on YouTube, and then saw that, okay, maybe this is something. And then that kind of led me to just keep pushing. Okay, this is something, I need to work really hard at it. So now my priorities have kind of shifted a little bit from hanging out, chilling all day, just doing nothing, to, okay, I'm going to take the extra time to learn how to edit more, to come up with ideas, or to film stuff. And I think that kind of pushed it. And obviously in my life, I'm 29 now, and there's been a lot of back steps as well. And I think this year really has been a big push. Now we're like, all right, I got to get serious again. All these bad habits that I've had in my life, struggle with all kinds of stuff. I'm like, all right, now I'm fully going in, fully pushing forward, and that stuff's not worth it. And yeah, it's game on right now.
Well, it comes down to your choices. I mean, you want to be successful. And so you have the choice of, oh, do I want to hang out with my buddies this weekend and get wasted all weekend and do nothing? Or do I want to hone my craft and learn it so well, like I've become an expert in my field? And from that, become the success story that you want. Because then you thrive. You're not just surviving anymore. You thrive.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love how you set those boundaries and said no and worked yourself towards a better group of people. A lot of people need to learn how to say no. And just in the same breath, there's a lot of people out there that they need to learn how to say yes to something. I mean, come on, like, hey man, like, what's going on? You want to get out of the house, go for a hike? No, I just want to stay, in my comfy blanket. Oh, hey, we're gonna go check out this lecture down at OU. You wanna come check it out? Well, I really got some chores to do around the house. Some people really need to learn how to say yes. There is so much magic in the yes, as much magic as there is in the no, to be quite honest with you. If you're one or the other, you've got to try that other thing. I remember first time I went snorkeling, we were down in Key West, and we paid for this vessel to go out and take us out there. It was a whole thing. I was there with a bunch of buddies, and open water is a thing, right? People are like, they act differently in open water. We're miles and miles away from shore. Any direction that you look, you can't see anything. I think that means you're at least 7 miles out at that point. And I hopped in the water, and I've never been snorkeling before, and I didn't have my like life vest inflated properly. So I jump in the water, and there's this fucking huge barracuda. I guess they're all huge, but like I thought it was enormous at that moment. And I scurried back onto the boat, and I was sitting there. My heart was pounding. I was scared to go in there, and I sat there for like 20, 30 minutes. I'm like, what if I never get the chance ever in my life again to go scuba diving or snorkeling, excuse me. Like, what if that never happens? What if this is the only time I'm going to have the opportunity to do so? And then I was like, what was the real thing? I was kind of sinking a little bit. So I inflated my vest a little bit more, got back in the water and enjoyed the last 20 minutes of snorkeling. If I didn't say yes in that moment to trying something that I was scared of, I might have never had the opportunity again. And whenever I told that story or someone talked about it, I'd only have this negative experience to draw upon. And really, it wasn't the
Mhm.
experience, it was my reaction to the experience. People need to say yes. They need to try things. They need to say, you know what? That thing I'm really interested in, that thing I really try, I'm going to try to monetize it. I'm going to see what it looks like
Mhm.
because you might not know the answer. It might be that amazing thing. It might be no one's going to do this, right? No one's going to sit on Excel and hit the down button for 9 hours. But you just never know what that thing is going to be. And if you're a person listening to this that doesn't try things, start talking to the people that you're interact with. Talk to people that you see in everyday life. Make a comment at a grocery store. Whatever the thing is, start living. And if you're a people pleaser, like I know I have been, I know Hunter has been, I'm assuming Carol has been at some point in her life, and you need to start saying no and setting those boundaries really is the thing that's going to set you free. It doesn't sound like it, it doesn't seem like it, but actually setting those boundaries in life is what's going to unlock a whole new world for you. And you need to hear that.
I like that. That's good. I mean, yeah, same applies for all of us. If you wouldn't have taken that step to do podcasting, we wouldn't be talking here. Or, if you wouldn't have done improv, I don't know if that was stepping out of your comfort zone. It didn't seem like it, but it was something new, and we wouldn't be station.
Oh, I mean, I'm in my 40s. I gotta find like what did someone tell me? They're like we forget how important it is to have fun in our life. And I was getting out of the Navy, and you lose that whole family, right? Because they're still working, they're still deploying, they still have all the training and all the things they need to do, even though I'm not far from them in distance. Like they still have this whole thing that they're doing day in and day out. And I'm like, well, shit, who do I hang out with? How do I even meet new people? And someone's like, find an improv class, go check it out. You just never know. And no kidding, I signed up for it at like 1 in the morning talking to someone. I was like, improv near me, OKC improv classes, bought it at like 1:30 in the morning, and I showed up. Even though I didn't know what to expect, even though it seems like I'm the type of person that would do improv, and I am, uh, I still had to show up. I still had to make that decision to shell out a couple bucks and go hang out and just see what happened. And really honored to get the chance to meet and grow with Hunter, honored to
Mhm.
perform with all of our classmates. And there's such a wide variety of class. Like I didn't even know all these people existed in one place. Like very
Yeah,
different, all of them, very
And
different.
local.
And
yes.
local
It
people
was,
I can
it was
actually, and I have gone on a road trip with. I went with Kyle on a road trip to Kansas.
I
I
saw
went out
some
and hung out with Amanda. She works at the liquor barn, and she's like telling me all the cool new bourbons that are going to come in. That never would have happened if I didn't take a chance and try the thing and actually show up and be present.
absolutely.
So as we're getting ready to wrap this thing up, Hunter, what advice would you have for someone that's maybe struggling, trying to figure out what their thing is, or maybe they're not happy with how they look in the mirror? Like, what kind of advice would you give someone that's struggling?
Well, that's a great question, and we kind of touched on this earlier. People may look at me on social media and think, "Oh, this guy has it all figured out." I do the same thing with, you know, people that are older or more settled in. I still don't know what I'm doing. It's a daily process. All I know is I want something more out of life than just the typical day-to-day thing of just the circle of life. I want to step out. And so I think that means again, what we talked about, stepping out of your comfort zone, doing something that you typically won't do. You just commit to it. That'll bring some new opportunities, some new people in your life that'll maybe help you figure out what you want to do, what you're passionate about. Another thing is, like, again, with video editing, I remember in high school, I would always be that guy that does video projects instead of like a written presentation. And I learned Windows Movie Maker. I didn't quite know how I loved editing and figuring that out, but I just found something that I liked and I worked on it every single day. I watched countless YouTube videos and trial and error. So again, it could be anything. If you're interested in painting and writing, just start taking some extra time. I heard a stat, it's if you want to become a master at something, even in a year, if you do something for 18 minutes a day, by a year you'll have, I forgot how many hours, but like you'll be able to be great at something. So just take a little extra time to step out of the normal routine of life, to find something you're interested in, work on a skill, meet some new people. And I think another thing is hanging out with a better crowd of people that are going to be motivating, that are also trying to figure out what they want to do, whether they know it or not. And you guys work on that together. And I think, again, just being aware that I don't know what I'm doing. It's still a daily process. I'll probably be 50 years old, still figuring out what I'm doing, but I'm having a great time. I'm doing something different and I'm enjoying the whole process.
Oh, that's fantastic. I know your biggest following is probably on Instagram. What's your Instagram handle so people can connect with you?
Is just at Hunter Hobbs. I had to pay a kid like $300 for it because true story. Because it was like super confusing. It was like Hunter Hobbs with like 3 Z's, and that just wasn't working out. That was kind of hard to explain. So I literally had to track down the original Hunter Hobbs, who hadn't been active since like 2013. But so now it's a little bit easier, but it's just Hunter Hobbs on Instagram.
That's perfect. Hey, Hunter, thank you so much for being our guest today and giving us a little bit of behind the scenes, behind the curtain. I look forward to buying your copy of your All the Terrible Shit People Say About Me coffee table book when that comes available. I'm definitely going to see you at Improv next week. And if you're listening to this, connect with Hunter at Hunter Hobbs on Instagram. Thank you so much.
That's all for this episode of Titan Evolution Podcast. We hope this no-holds-barred conversation opened your eyes on what it takes to live a genuinely happy life according to your own terms. Now that you've treated yourself to such a refreshing discussion, you cannot listen to nonsense content anymore. Be sure not to miss an episode by subscribing to the show at TitanEvolutionPodcast.com. Don't forget to share the word so more people can be enlightened, informed, and entertained. Thank you for listening.